destroying your spirituality altogether. Your relationship with Allah depends on a heart being clean. Every time you're exposed to filth, more dirt, more blackness, more covers are poured on top of your heart. And it keeps on pouring and it keeps on pouring and it keeps on pouring to the point where you're listening to the word of Allah and you can't get yourself to even shed a single tear. It won't come because your heart has been made so hard because of all the exposure to filth, all the sin that your eyes are taking in all the time. And you don't even care anymore. You know, a good heart, when it sees something inappropriate that doesn't coincide with the commandments of Allah, it is disturbed. It's not attracted, it's disturbed. It says, no, that's wrong. Immediately the conscience kicks in, the alarm goes off. But when you're at the point, when you're by yourself and you feel no guilt doing it, you just don't feel anything. You don't feel that it's wrong. The only thing before you stare at a sister, you look around like, is anybody else watching? And then you take a good look. That means the fear of Allah is completely gone. The only fear you have is that of the seen. There is no more fear of the unseen. What a horrible spiritual state to be in. Allah says, يَعْلَمُ خَائِنَةَ الْأَعْيُنِ وَمَا تُخْفِي الصُّدُورِ. He knows the stealing of the eyes, that little glance you caught. He knows that one, that little glance you took. What to speak of the stare. And He knows what the chests are hiding. You know why I brought up this particular ayah? Don't even go near zina. إِنَّهُ كَانَ فَاحِشَةً. It has always been considered a lewd, shameless, vulgar act. وَسَاءَ سَبِيلًا. And a horrible path. Allah describes it as a path. A horrible path. In other words, a path has steps. Right? A path is made up of steps. You have to identify which step you're in. What makes you get into this? You know, and for each of you, there's a process, there's a cycle. You're in a room by yourself. You know, you're after school. You've got a couple of hours before your parents get home. You know, you're among a bunch of friends that don't have any standards. You have to identify what leads you to this sin every time, and you have to cut it in its tracks. You have to stop going down that path. Our standards have gone so low. A movie comes out, you see a couple of trailers, you tell yourself, there's just one bad scene in it, it's okay. It's PG-13, it's not R. What used to be R 10 years ago is now PG-13. What used to be PG-13 is now PG. They put filthy scenes in everything now. And we don't even care about the spiritual price we're paying. It's affecting our prayer, it's affecting our dua, it's affecting our character. It's affecting our family life. It is. And we don't care. You know, start with your eyes. The zina of the eyes, and everything else goes from there. Everything else goes from there. Fahish actually means wild animal. Fahish means someone who acts like a wild animal. Shamelessness is described as behavior close to animal behavior.